You think Jesus can do anything right here in Las Vegas, Sin City? I believe that what God is doing is He's creating an eternal testimony. And what we know is when we can come together under a spirit of unity, nothing will be impossible. Hello and welcome to another episode of Las Vegas United. I'm your host, Pino, and here at Las Vegas United, we are partnering with God to create an eternal testimony of His goodness, mercy, and power right here in the Las Vegas Valley. And listen, before we get started on today's show, could you do me a favor? Wherever you're watching this, maybe you're watching on King 17, maybe you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching this, would you go ahead, if you're able to, hit the like, comment button, and subscribe. You're just going to help us get the word out about what God is doing right here in Las Vegas. But without further ado, I have an amazing guest planned for you today. I'm super excited because today we have Pastor Franklyn Bethel with us. Pastor Franklyn, what's going on,
What's up, my brother? Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm humbled and I'm excited to be here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. It's good just to have friends on the show and just talk about Jesus and
yes, sir.
Our city, you know.
All
so
right.
I'm thankful that you're joining us today, man.
All right.
So, man, tell I know about you, but tell the audience a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Well, don't know really where to start. There's so much to tell, but in the sake of brevity, I'm from the Bahamas originally.
All right.
God's called my wife and I to bring our 4 kids, go to Bible college. This was back 2003. By 2004, we moved to the United States, and God said, "You're going to plant a church here." So, we've been in the States ever since then, moved 3 states, been in Vegas for 11 years.
Come on, man.
And got to plant the church 9 years ago.
Yeah.
We planted as Red Thorn Church back in the day. And on our 7th birthday, we rebranded and renamed as Crux, which means the cross in Latin. So, and we've just been enjoying God's presence, seeing God do amazing things in this city, getting to meet awesome people like you, and building those friendships and partnerships. And we're just on for the ride, man.
Yeah, come on. I'm along for the ride too.
Yes, sir.
It's really funny whenever I talk with people. It's like God called us to Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, and we've all said yes. You know what I mean?
Right.
For those of us who are here, it's like we've said yes. You know, I want to talk a little bit about your journey here. Okay. Because there's one of the favorite stories I've heard you talk about is whenever you were traveling over here and you had no money. You know, that story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like that because whenever I heard that story, and I want I want you to share that. Okay. It just helped build faith in me.
Yes, sir.
And we have an audience that I just want to help build faith in people's lives. You know
absolutely,
what I mean?
absolutely.
So talk to us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, happy to share. Okay, so after Bible college, we were in Columbus, Ohio there. We graduated. We moved to Florida, not because God sent us there, but because logistically speaking, we thought it was a good place to be geographically. It was the closest state to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And so we were there for a year and a half doing ministry. It was awesome. But God said, this isn't where I called you. So by process of elimination, God brought 2 pastors to my mind. One was in Vegas, one was Springfield, Missouri. And he said, write to both of them. And the one that says yes is where you're going. So Springfield said, thanks for checking in. We appreciate you, but we're good. Vegas said, hey, bro, how quickly can you get here? We need you. So we packed up everything in 2 weeks. That church had a very limited budget, so they didn't have a whole lot to offer. At the time, I wasn't working, and so we were just doing ministry work. So they sent us a small stipend. We sold everything. And in Flagstaff, Arizona, we ran out of money because we drove from East Coast to West Coast, right?
Oh, yeah.
We brought 3 of our 4 kids with us. One stayed behind because he was working. And I remember I had $40 in my pocket. And it was the end of the day. We were tired, out of gas, out of food. And God said, pull over and feed your family. So there was I think it was a Pizza Hut on the side of the street, man. And we pulled over, blew the 40. And you know that moment, you see the lights are turning off, people are putting chairs on the table, and they're like, okay, I don't know what's next, but I just ate, and we have no money left. So we were walking out the door, and literally I looked to the right, there was a Holiday Inn Express in the back of the property, and God said, go inquire about the rate. And I'm like, okay. And I'm telling my wife, God said inquire about the rate. She's like, you realize we got no money, right? I said, yeah. She said, okay, you go do that. I'll be in the car praying and interceding.
Yeah, exactly.
Back here. So I kid you not, man, I walk in and I'm waiting in line to see the front desk agent. Elevator opens, this older lady walks out whom I've never met. She starts chatting me up and asking me, oh, where you from? What you doing? What's going on? And, I'm not in the mood for talking. I'm trying to figure this thing out, right? But I'm talking to her. And I mentioned that I'm going to Vegas. We're moving to Vegas to help a church out. And she says, really? She's like, is your wife with you? I said, yeah. She said, I'd like to meet your wife. Now, if you know my wife, she ain't going to get up in the middle of the night to go meet a stranger just like that. So I finally convinced her. There's a lot of negotiating going on in the car. And she finally came out to meet this lady. And so by the point where I'm introducing the two of them, the counter's available now. I can go and inquire about the rate, right? So I walk over to the counter, and I kid you not, man, the front desk agent slides me 2 room keys. And she says, your rooms have been paid for. So I said, well, how's that even possible? And then I look over, the lady's over there smiling, and come to find out, she only wanted me to go and call my wife out the car to get me away from the situation so she could go pay for our rooms.
Wow.
She then put $200 in our hands and said, the Lord told her to do that.
Yeah.
So I tell you, man, from Flagstaff, Arizona to Blue Diamond Road here in Las Vegas, that was exactly the amount of money we needed to the penny. And it's just one of many things that God did, over the years to just kind of confirm and reconfirm his calling on us. It was just one of those mind-blowing moments, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I love that story. I love that story because sometimes whenever you step out in faith, and I've said it a couple times here on the show, sometimes whenever you step out in faith, it's like, okay, Lord, well, I'll do it, but how's it going to happen?
Right.
It reminds me of the story of Abram. Whenever God told Abram,
yes, sir,
I want you to get up from here and go from a place.
Go somewhere.
That I'll show you. Go somewhere that I'll show you. And Abram's, I could just imagine Abram's like, okay, where?
Right.
And God's just like, I'll show you.
Yeah,
okay, where? No, I'll show you. I'll show you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But God is just looking for our yes. He's looking for our obedience.
Yes,
and whenever
sir.
we take those steps, whenever we step out, I believe that our job is not to have all the answers.
Right.
Our job is to believe.
Correct. Absolutely.
And whenever we believe and we step out on his word, then he comes through and he does the rest.
100%. I mean, when the Bible literally says the just shall live by faith, I don't think we understand the implication of that until we get in those moments when we realize, okay, so if this is a lifestyle, that means that virtually everything God's calling me to do is going to require my faith because that's how God's pleased. He's pleased with that because it says, I trust you. I'm in a relationship with you, God. I trust you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's, we should all trust Jesus. That's for sure.
Amen.
So, man, you get here to Vegas.
Yeah.
And I know there's some series of events, but God spoke to you to start the church. So tell us why plant a church in Vegas?
Yeah, only because God said so. The original plan was to go back to the Bahamas and plant one there. But in 2007, I got word that one of my high school buddies had passed away. I decided to go home for the funeral. But the moment the plane landed in the Bahamas, God said, you're not planting it here. You're planting it in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, well, thanks for the heads up. So that's kind of, changed everything for us. So it's not like we knew this was going to happen, but God, again, started to reconfirm things. When we got to Vegas, remember, we came to help with church.
Yeah.
So we decided to put that vision of planning our own church on hold, put that on the shelf for 12 months and just serve somebody else. And as a matter of fact, I remember walking into the church. The church they knew we were coming and they were, oh, pastor. And I was like, no, don't even refer to me as pastor. You got one pastor in this house. It's your pastor. We're only here to help. Yeah. And after the 12 months, then God released us to plant our church.
Yeah. I heard once before, I was probably in Bible school or somewhere, I forget, but they said whenever you serve someone else's vision, God will eventually give you your own.
Yeah. Amen.
And
Amen.
So talk about that a little bit.
Well, it does take a tremendous amount of humility. We can't go into this thing ego-minded or big-headed. We have to be submitted to God's plan. And I know it sounds elementary and rudimentary, but the thing of it is we do have to kill the flesh. You got to crucify the flesh. Because one thing that we do know is that most pastors are type A personalities, right? We know what we want. We can figure it out, right? We don't second guess. And so when you have a situation where you have I've heard it said this way: anything with two heads is a monster, right? So whenever you have a situation where there are two pastors in one house, that could be like the equivalent of two wives in the kitchen, right?
Yeah,
It
sure.
just don't work out.
Yeah.
And so it does take walking in step with somebody else's plan, being willing to submit and surrender to somebody else's vision, and understanding that only when called upon do I give of what I feel in my heart needs to come into this. And so I think it's important. One of the things that I think was important for us is I served 7 pastors on my way to becoming one. And so to me, those were crucial years in learning what serving was like, because I think anyone that's in leadership needs to first know what it is to be led. And
That's good.
yeah, I think every pastor should have a pastor. I think that's what qualifies us to lead, is to know what it is to be submitted to leadership. So I think those things are very key. That's kind of what we went through. And yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, there are highs and lows, of course, in any relationship, but yeah, I think we were stronger and better in the end.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I tell, because I pastor here in Las Vegas as well. I tell our congregation all the time, until you come under authority, you'll never be able to operate in authority.
That's
because
absolutely
everything in the kingdom operates in authority.
Absolutely.
We read that in the Gospels.
Absolutely.
Whenever the centurion came to Jesus,
Right.
and I won't go into all the story here because I want to get into your story, but Jesus let us know authority in the kingdom is very important.
Absolutely.
And so whenever you can come under someone else's authority, not that they're a taskmaster and trying to lord it over you. I mean, there's some bad leaders out there.
Right.
But whenever you can submit to a house, whenever you come under the covering of a house, you actually will receive, I believe you receive the grace that's on that house in your own personal life.
Yes, 100%.
So you've worked for several pastors. God's spoken to you to start a church. What is your vision now for Las Vegas?
Oh my gosh. Well, I think our vision, God kind of gave us our vision in what we call our big 5. It's our marching orders, so to speak, right? Our vision statement. It's invade the darkness, engage the culture, enlarge the family, empower the believer, and enforce the mission. And so how that plays out is basically just it's all biblical, right? Invade the darkness. That just means everybody that's a part of our church is on mission. We try to teach our church that you don't have to be an evangelist, so to speak, in the general calling of that, but each of us are called to be evangelists in our own spheres of influence. And I remember in invading the darkness, so we do it corporately and individually, right? I remember when we first were called to the art district, where we are now. We did this thing where our whole church went out and we just decided we were going to distribute books. I have a friend who is a pastor, a Korean pastor out of California, and he wrote this book on grace. And he said God told him not to sell them, just give them away. So they gave us boxes and boxes of these things. We're like, we're going to go into our district. We're just going to love our neighbors, right?
Yeah.
And I remember walking into this one establishment, and I don't know what was going on here, man, but I didn't even utter the first word. The proprietor, saw the word grace on the book. And man, that lit a fire in him. He started cussing me out. He was all up in my face. He wanted to fight me. And I'm like, bro, I haven't even said hello yet. But this is what invading darkness is. And so our answer to that, we planted the church just up the block from there. And so we've been there now for over a year. And so invading the darkness is important, which leads to engaging culture. I think there is a war going on between secular culture and church culture, right? We've seen that play out. And our answer to that is what we need to do is be willing to have a conversation with culture. The church shouldn't just be a part of it. The church should lead the conversation. And I think quite often we're so reactive instead of proactive. But God has assigned the church to go into these places and to create culture, right? One of the ways we've done that, I just came off of teaching a series on critical theory versus Christian theology. And because I know it's a thing, but a lot of churches weren't preaching it and teaching it. You see it in books and that sort of thing. But I'm like, we have to start talking about these things, right? Which leads to enlarging the family. So I believe if we're invading darkness, engaging culture, the church is going to grow.
Yeah.
And then once they come in, then you start empowering the believer through having them join circles and groups and teaching and preaching the Bible, right? Sometimes we preach through books of the Bible line by line and just kind of break it all down. And then, of course, enforcing the mission, we're training pastors now in-house, which is cool.
Yeah.
And we're just going to train them up and have them just start this whole process all over again. Because I think every church should be reproducing itself.
Yeah.
Reproducing after your own kind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's kind of on that aspect. And then we do some community stuff too, which I'm sure we could talk about later.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great. I love how how your vision is not just internal.
Yeah.
It's external.
Right.
And I think that's important. Whenever we become internally focused, where it's just all about, all right, we have our flock here. We just want to keep the flock. We want to hover over the flock, which there's an element of, as shepherds, we have to do that. But when you empower your people, your flock, the ones that God has allowed you to steward,
right,
when you release them, that's whenever you invade the darkness. That's whenever you see regions and societies and cultures change for the glory of God.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. I fully agree with that. Yeah, for sure. Because I think a lot of people are very comfortable in church. Mm. I tell our people all the time, if you're comfortable, I'm doing it wrong. Right? Because you're here on mission. And we are a missional church. And that means each of you who, whether you feel like you have significant gifts or not, we're all called to go and invade dark spaces in our spheres of influence. We have to be elements of change, agents of change wherever we go. So to put that mindset in them, because what did Jesus command us to do? Go make disciples.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Not go make pew sitters.
Right.
Right. And we have a slogan at our church. You're saved to serve, not saved to sit.
That's good.
And so it's like everybody knows you walk in, hey, we're going to be cool the first day. By second Sunday, where you want to serve? Come on, you need to get in growth track. Growth track is four short classes. After the 4 classes, we're going to see where you fit. We're going to put you to work.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it. The term apostle is actually like it's a Greek term, apostolos.
Yeah.
And that basically just means a sent one.
Right. So
in Jesus' society, he used that term because he knew that his disciples, it would click for them.
Right.
And what that basically was is in Roman culture, the Romans would send out centurions and different, legions to go conquer an area and make the area that they conquered look, think, and act like Rome.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
So whenever Jesus said, you're apostles now, he was basically telling them, I don't want you to go and make the earth look like Rome. I want you to make the earth look like the kingdom of heaven.
That's right. That's right.
And so our job, according to Ephesians chapter 4, and I know I'm kind of preaching here a little bit, but it's
that's
all right.
what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah. But according to Ephesians chapter 4, God's given us gifts, apostles, prophets, pastors, evangelists, and teachers for the equipping of the saints.
That's right.
To do the work of the ministry.
Amen to that.
So our job is to equip the body.
Yeah.
And then to send the body out.
Right.
Like how you're saying, to be on mission.
Right.
And to serve.
That's
and to transform the culture, transform society.
Yeah.
To where it looks like the kingdom of heaven.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. That's right. That's right. Yeah. And so I think the church has a lot of catching up to do because the culture just has a bigger megaphone than we do right now. And we need to take that back because God has put a mandate on us that we have to shape the way these things go down, man. And if the church is not on mission, then the world is not going to receive Jesus the way that, it needs, especially during these unprecedented times. I mean, of course, we've seen crazy things happen in the last, 24 months. And this is where the church has a golden moment to step up and really be the church.
Absolutely. I believe it. So talk to me. I know you guys do some things like outreaches. I call them outreaches. Probably.
Yeah.
How about a community engagement?
Community engagement.
Like
I like that.
That's a fancy way of saying outreach. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So talk to me about some of the community engagement stuff that you guys do at Crux.
Yeah. So it's still a developmental process. I recently installed a community director. She's great. She's working some things out. We've partnered with Commissioner McCurdy's office because he has a faith-based initiative now where he's trying to connect with local pastors and Christian leaders to try to do some reform in certain areas. And it could be anything from helping with the homelessness to fixing your streets, where your churches are located. And so we're doing that. But over the years, we've done several things. We've partnered locally with some stores like Trader Joe's, for example. There was like 2 years where we were just getting free food every single week. And I guess over the years, man, it feels like we've distributed the equivalent of like 2 semi trucks worth of food to families that need it. We partner with Helps of Southern Nevada. So every single year we give out brand new bikes, toys to the kids. We've given out hundreds of bikes, thousands of toys over the years, which has been pretty cool. And so we still do that every year. We partner with, there's a company called CV Outreach that contacted us about 2 years ago, and they said, we want to work with you. And what they've done, I don't know how they do it because I'm not that tech savvy, but they got some permissions to get into like our Facebook and our website. And what they do is they have a way of connecting with local people who are going through things. And so those people who are going through like struggling with suicide thoughts and divorce and loneliness and sickness and you name it, they email us asking for help. So literally every single day we're receiving emails from people around the city. Yeah. I've actually had to set up a ministry in our church just to deal with the emails because they come in every single day. So we're trying on that front too. And some of them, they end up coming into the church and we're able to, flock them and, serve them. Others, we do a lot of, ministering to them outside of the church environment. So there's that. And then, of course, we've given out, clothes and stuff like that to like Shade Tree and other organizations over the years as well. So these are different ways. We just try to see what the opportunities are out there. But the cool thing about us putting this community director in place is that she's good at what she does. So now we're going to find new and inventive ways of doing that. Because I'll tell you, man, since this year came in, it's just been crazy. It's been a whirlwind. We've literally had to drop a grenade on what we were doing before because God wanted to revamp a lot of things. Yeah. And so we're just now trying to put in works things that are important to what we see as this vision that God has for 22. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's going to include a lot more of the serving our community. Yeah. Yeah. I love serving our community. Yeah. It's a fabulous and fantastic thing. Yes, sir. And that's part of the reason why God has brought us into the city is to serve the city. Right. That's right. And I think you guys are doing that really well, man. I think you guys. Well, thank you. I know you've called me a couple times and you're like, "Hey, man, I got some extra bikes. Can anybody in your church use any of these?" Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I Shade Tree and everything like that. We're connected with. We've had Pastor Frank Holland on the show before. Okay. You know Frank at all? I don't know if I've met him. I might have. Yeah. Okay. I need to connect you guys. But Frank, he's part of the Dream Center in Las Vegas. Okay. Just doing a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of stuff happening in Vegas, man. Right. That God is using the churches to reach our community. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm super glad to be in the city with you, man. And likewise, and bro. Serving the city. So, man, tell us for everyone who's watching. Yeah. And I know there's a lot more. In your heart, this guy, for those of you who are listening and watching, Franklyn is a Bible teacher, okay? Like, if you can't tell, he's very studious. He carries the word extremely well. Thank you. And I know there's a lot more on the inside. Gosh. You know what I mean? It's funny. Whenever we have guests on the show, I have them, I send an email out and say, "Hey, we're just going to have some talking points here." Yeah. He came with a whole piece of paper prepared. I'm pretty sure I see scripture verses on there and everything, So Franklyn is awesome. I love you, man. I love your heart, man. I love how you just everything. But if people want to get connected with you and with what you have going on, what's the best way for them to do that? Well, we're on pretty much all the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook as Crux Church. Our email is cruxchurchlv@gmail. Just a basic email there. But you can reach us on any of those platforms. Our website's cruxchurch.org. So you can find all the essentials there. And we go Facebook Live every Sunday. We're not doing it this Sunday. We have a private thing going on for just our people. But we usually run Facebook Live on Sundays, our services. And man, that's how they can get a hold of us. We're located. There you go. Tell them. 1025 First Street. So we're in the Art District, downtown Las Vegas, and we are out of if you know the old Cockroach Theater, that's where we are. It's now called, I think, the Las Vegas Theater or something like that. So we're right in there. It's 10 roaches to Las Vegas, huh? There you go. We got to get the roaches saved too, bro. But we ran them out, in case you're wondering. There are no rodents. It's a safe environment for you and your kids. But we have fun there. 10 a.m. on Sunday. Sundays. We have circles. So we have M3 for the men, Grace Life for the women. We have Nucleus for marriage and family. That's every Wednesday. We have Crux Culture for the youth.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, everybody has a spot. We have Crux Kids for the kids. Everybody has a place, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. Listen, if you are listening to this right now, you're watching this, if you want to get involved at a church in the Arts District, super cool spot with amazing people. The Bethels are amazing pastors. They're going to love you. They're going to take care of you. If you're looking for that, check these guys out. Cruxchurch.org, you said?
Yes, sir.
So check them out. You will not regret it. Hey, listen, I want to thank you all for joining this week on Las Vegas United. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share this with somebody. I know we have a lot of people who watch us on King 17. We just want to let you know that we appreciate you joining us every week on the program. But if you're listening on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, iTunes, however you're getting this, help us out, get the word out, what God is doing in Las Vegas by spreading the word, sharing the good news. Because right here at Las Vegas United, we are partnering with God to create an eternal testimony of his goodness, mercy, and power right here in Las Vegas. So we will see you next time right here on Las Vegas United. God bless you.
Hey Las Vegas, thank you so much for watching our show. Next week, Pastor Aaron invites Matthew Tice of Liberty Baptist Church to expand on the differences of their faith and how as believers we can come together to do the work Christ has called us to. This episode is truly an uplifting one and might just make you want to walk through the doors of your local Baptist church and witness the greatness of God.
I believe this is the defining moment of our generation. All of the past has been building to this moment, and all of the future will be shaped by it. So the question is, are we ready to stop playing church and take the place God has given us? Or will the world have to wait for yet another generation? Beloved, God is calling men out of caves of insecurity and indecision to stand in the light of his truth for the sake of a nation in absolute moral crisis. So if there was ever a time, this is it, for a solemn assembly, a coming together of fathers, sons, and brothers to cross the cultural lines that have divided us and to stand together for the glory of God and for the healing of our nation. So join with thousands of men from all across North America on April 8th and 9th of 2022 as we gather in Las Vegas, Nevada, not merely for a conference, but for a moment of decision. It's time to lay down our idols on the altar and to see Jesus enthroned in our lives, in our families, in our nation, and in our world.
Our show is hosted by Pastor Aaron Pino of Overflow Church. To learn more about him and his ministry, please visit overflowchurch.co. The guest this week is Franklyn Bethel of Crux Church. For more information, visit cruxchurch.org and follow their ministry on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram at crux_church. Our show is directed by Javier Moreno. Production assisting by Julie Moreno. For more information about CTN Vegas and our show, please visit ctnvegas.com.